Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today we are thinking about aging strongly. That is a thinker. So we will be about it with Janet. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Janet is going to tell us all about how she thinks about this and so much more, just so that we can have a fresh perspective on this topic. So with that being said, thank you so much, Janet, for coming onto my show and sharing your time and your perspective with me. It's truly a pleasure. So let's just dive right in, right? When you think of aging strongly, I mean, like, what does that make you think about?
Well, it's more than biceps. There is so much surprise ahead for anyone. I know that, your core audience is 30 plus, and mine on my channel is more like 50 plus. So what's great about that is we're coming back with a report from the field. This is what it's really like to have been 30, 40. I'm going to be 70 next year. So there is so much wisdom. I can almost be like your voice from the future. You know, those questions that people ask, what is one thing you would tell your younger self? And then everybody has, their answers of, I wish somebody had told me this. So I
Yeah.
think that I'm kind of like a voice from the future.
I know, I love it. I love that you already have this awareness and the fact that you're 70 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're only listening to this, you need to find the YouTube, find this video because she is beautiful for 70. If she is 70 years old, that gives me hope. That gives me hope that when I'm in my 70s, I'm gonna be looking good. Because you look so amazing. You know what I mean? And I think that is something that people forget is that when you stop doing something that your body needs to continue to function, it goes into this shock and it literally starts shutting down. And that's
Right.
why the old saying is if you don't use it, you lose it. And when I was a caregiver in my early in my high school years and you know what I mean and things like that, I used to work with people in their 80s and 90s years old, already 100 years old, still sassy, still ready to like teach you knowledge and wisdom. And I think anybody over 50 has a type of knowledge that people under 50 fail to realize. You know what I mean? So, yes, I really do think this is going to be a great one. So, I have to ask you, when did you really start working out? When did you started taking it seriously?
Well, in my adult life, it was probably I had a wake up call when I was 46,
Okay.
when I had like a health crisis. As a child, I was a crazy little athlete and I loved sports and I
Okay.
was really physically good at everything I tried. I was just, super energetic, very healthy. And because my parents raised me to be really healthy, I just thought, well, this just comes for free. This is just who I am. I will always be really healthy. And, so I kind of coasted through my 20s and my 30s, high-powered career. No, I didn't exercise as an intentional activity. I
Yeah.
played volleyball or, just did something fun, but it was very sporadic and it wasn't intentional or part of my daily routine.
There you go.
So when I got to be 46, I went for my annual physical, as one does. And my doctor, instead of just, patting me on the back and sending me on my way,
Yeah.
ushered me into his office. So I knew it was going to be a serious conversation. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Well, he just, said, I don't know what's going on, Janet, but you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, and you're borderline obese. What's going on? You have the signs of early heart disease. I mean, that was
Yeah.
it was like just hitting a brick wall. I wasn't prepared. I knew, oh sure, I could probably stand to lose a few pounds, but
Mm.
everybody's a little overweight, right? And I just didn't
Yeah.
take it seriously. I felt pretty good, but when I really thought about it, I did have some brain fog and was a little inflamed and bloated and not always feeling super energetic. I could tell I was getting a little older. And
Yeah.
so, but I didn't think it was that bad, but it was.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Mitzi, it was like, a major, you
Wake
know,
up call.
yeah,
Hello, Janet, wake up. The
right.
flashing lights. Come
Yeah.
on, we gotta do something here. I think of like Osmosis Jones. Do you remember that movie? When they go in and they do all they have the germs and the cells
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Every time somebody says they have like some health scare, I automatically think of Osmosis Jones. It takes me right there, and I could just imagine your body just like freaking out, trying to get a new mayor. You know what I mean? Doing all of that just because it was not working. So yeah, your body must have gotten a new mayor and was like, we're gonna change this up because this is not working
Mhm.
for us. That
Yeah.
is amazing. I mean, at least you took it in that aspect. You know what I mean? Because there are people out there who don't take that as a wake up call. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
just like, oh well, I'll be okay, and they just continue their life
Mhm.
normally, not realizing and not connecting the dots and not
Right.
realizing like what is really going on because our body speaks to us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It
It
does.
really does let us
Absolutely.
know what's
Yeah.
happening and and all of that. So it's really interesting. But when did you realize that you started to feel the benefits of working out?
Okay, well, yeah, that's I love your metaphor about got a new mayor. I didn't even think about that show. That's hilarious. I'm gonna start using that.
I know, exactly. Go ahead. It's okay.
Well, so what he did was he started to slide a stack of prescriptions across the table at me. And I thought, oh, this is the stuff that my grandparents take. Uh, no, something inside me really pushed back. I just closed down and I said, this is not the answer to start with prescription drugs. No discussion
Yeah.
about fitness, about diet, about my sleep patterns, stress, anything. So my early training in trusting my body all of a sudden started to wake up. And so I'd been going to this doctor for a while now. Mind you, this is like, 20, 25 or 30 years ago
Yeah.
when you would go to the same doctor for a long time and
Hmm.
not skip around. So this doctor knew me, and I said, listen, you've got to give me 6 months. I need to see if I have it in me to be able to create a healthier regimen without the drugs being kind of a smokescreen over what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I said, I'll come back in 6 months and we'll measure everything again. And if I'm not in the safe zones on all those things, I'll take your prescriptions. And
Okay.
so it's like, deal. So we made the appointment and I left. And then I went out to my car and just sobbed. I was hysterical because not only was it frightening to receive that wake up call, I mean, thank God it wasn't a heart attack or a stroke because that's what
Exactly.
happens to some people when they're, in their late 40s, early 50s, and they haven't been, that's when youthful vitality takes a turn because
Yes.
there's this thing that happens around 35 to 40, somewhere in there. It's genetically programmed, but we all get it, where the body decides that it no longer needs to pump all that growth hormone and all those, like your chemistry changes a little bit and it just kind of coasts and then starts to glide into a little bit of a decline. And
Yeah.
so if you don't meet that with habits that make it bump back up again, then the decline speeds up. So
Yes.
yeah, I decided so I went back to work after I collected myself and I told my boss, I said, I need to do something because I realized I didn't have a plan. I had no strategy.
Yeah.
I didn't have a trainer. I had never been to a gym, as a
Hmm.
lifting weights or anything. So she said, well, I've got a great trainer. Why don't you start there? Just hire him. He's really good. I mean, you'll like him and see where it goes. And
Yeah.
so I signed up with this trainer, and he happened to be strength training
Oh,
and
okay, cool.
bodybuilding. And just happened to be, he wasn't a CrossFit trainer or, interval trainer or whatever. He had
Yeah.
this certain niche. So I started in with him, and he trained me so well, and I loved it. So I really grasped it because
Good.
it was so motivating to get stronger, and you could see it on the weight. I could do
Yeah.
more and more and more. So it's kind of gives you that little dopamine hit, like, oh, look
Yes.
at me.
I know it does.
I'm strong. And I had never actually experienced that in such a measured way before. So it was very
Yeah.
motivating. I went 3 days a week and it had to be at 5 a.m. because that was the only time he had available, which is insane. But
Yeah.
what was good about that was then never had to cancel because I had a meeting or, a client thing that got in the way. I could just do that and then go on with my day.
Yeah.
So I encourage people, if they're struggling with motivation, do it before you have time to think about it and back out. And
Exactly.
having a trainer helps because they're like, where is she? You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
you're accountable to somebody else. So I
Yeah.
stuck with him for the 6 months. I never did a thing with my diet. So what I'm saying here is start with one thing.
Yeah.
Start and just start. Don't try to, oh, well, it's not the right time, or it's not perfect, or I haven't figured everything out yet. Just start. Maybe you start with diet
Absolutely.
first, right? That's fine. But I happened to just start with exercise, and I got done with the 6 months. I had lost 35 pounds, which was great because
Yeah.
that took me out of the borderline
Obese.
obese category.
Yeah.
All my blood work, everything was normal. And so he said, all right, well, don't quit, keep going. And so then I was like, oh, phew, I dodged that bullet. But then
Yeah.
I sort of thought, okay, well, I guess I hit that goal, but I wasn't going to quit because I was
Yeah.
really enjoying it. So
Yeah.
do something long enough so that it becomes a habit. So that,
Yeah.
and it's something you figured out you really like. So you're going to be wanting to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I needed a new goal, Mitzi. I didn't have a big goal now. Like what now?
Yeah.
And right about that time, these two ladies joined our gym with another trainer at the same time of day. So they were there at 5 a.m. and they
Mm-hmm.
were ripped. And they were a
Yeah.
little younger than me, but they looked amazing. They were muscly but they looked feminine. They looked like sports models,
Yeah.
just beautiful. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, oh, I would love to look like that. And then I noticed something. They were lifting the same weights I was lifting, the same dumbbell weights, the same cables, everything. And I thought, how in the world can they look like that? And I look like this because I was still a little fluffy.
Yeah.
And we're doing the same work. We're
Yeah.
doing the same work. It doesn't make any sense. Like that, that's really how stuck I was in not knowing what this
Yeah.
is all about. And so I asked my trainer, and he said, oh, well, Janet, those are bodybuilding competitors. They have a show in 5 weeks. They have to be on
Yeah.
stage. So they're dialing in with a strategic diet. So they're doing the same workouts that you're doing, but
Yeah.
they're eating this very specific diet. And I thought, do you mean to tell me the only difference between me and them is what they're eating? I want that diet. It was just like I had to have it.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I mean, a bodybuilding competition diet is very restrictive. It can be
Oh,
difficult, right?
oh, I believe it because I had a friend who did it and she did it like a couple years after high school and because she first got into just working out and she got really fit and then somebody suggested her to do the bodybuilding and then she did it and
Yeah.
she went on a very strict diet. Like she showed pictures and everything and but she was determined to do it. But then once she's done it and she went through the process, she was like, okay, well, I did it and now I can just continue moving with my workout routine. So yeah,
Yeah.
I understand when you go into bodybuilding, it's a different type of mindset, it's a different type of dedication, but when you get there,
Mm.
it's like, oh, it's a rewarding feeling.
Yeah.
And I just want to reference back to when you said that you started to work out and you started to see the results. I know exactly what you mean because when I gave birth to my second son, I was at like the heaviest I was. I was pre almost like like that pre-diabetes stage.
Yeah.
My hips were hurting me because it was just so like painful just to walk. I wobbled still even after giving birth. So then I was just like, no, something has to change. I can physically lose this. So I started like just from the small parts. I just was like, okay, I'm not going to use weights. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to just move my arms. I'm not going to start slow. I'm just going to use my body. And then I started that. And then it motivated me from like just doing it for just a minute. Cause I was like, if I could do it just a minute a day, then I could do it. So then I went from a minute to 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 40. Like I went all the way up to almost like an hour and a half. You know what I mean? Like I was so proud of myself. And then I realized, like, you know what? Time is really constraining me. Like I just need to reconstruct myself with my workout and just reconstruct my workout routine. So then I did that. I reconstructed it. And then like I had some issues. So then I went to an actual physical therapist to just deal with some other issues I was dealing with. And she was able to help me like focus on the areas that was really causing me pain. And then now that I do that, I literally went from no weights to I'm up to 15. You know what I know it's not much for some people that are like 45, but like 15's a lot, you know what I mean, for right
It's
now. And
definitely.
you know what I mean? It still is heavy when you don't do that. So it's like now that I'm at 15 and I already got my like pre-weights to get me up to 20, and then I have this kettlebell that goes up to 40. You know what I mean? Like I am so into it. Like anytime I see like workout equipment that's on the low on clearance or I find thrifting, like I snatch it up. Like I have a whole wall just dedicated to my workout stuff at home because and then it's just like you said early in the morning. Like you do it early in the morning and you get it out the way. Like I wake up now at like 4:30 and I'm already working out at like 4:45, 5 o'clock. You know what I mean? Just so that I can just work out and focus before my boys wake up. And then my day is just focused on them. You know what I mean? So it's just
Sure.
like, yes, when you get it out of the way, it's like, okay, you're done. And then it just motivates you, like, oh, I could do that tomorrow. You know what I mean? I could give
Yeah.
myself a break. You know what I mean? Or I could do this. So it's just like, it really is like when you realize that you start reframing your mind from the outside world and refocusing it on the inside of who you are and what you really want to be because it's your life. You know what I mean? Because I realize that when you're like in your 20s in high school in that area you're so focused on everybody else, you're so focused on keeping up and you know what I mean and being whatever everybody else is doing. But when you hit that 30 age mark and up, you realize, you know what, something has to change here, and it's my life, it's my
Yeah.
body, it's my soul. You know what I mean? And I started to realize that you once you could take care of your physical health, then you start taking care of your internal, like what's really what you start eating. Because I had that wake up call too, because I was like, I'm lifting up heavier weights now. I can literally lift up a 40-pound dumbbell like nothing. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna use it into my workout routine because I want to do it like correctly, like slowly. So, but I can literally pick up a 40-pound dumbbell if I really wanted to, like with no issue. But the problem is like my body, you know what I mean? It still wasn't changing. You know what I mean? Like it changed, but didn't change. So it's like I went through what you did. Like if it's what I'm eating that's
Mm.
really stopping me, then let me change the way that I eat. So then I started changing the way that I eat. I started adding more vitamins, more protein, more, and
Mm.
I've been changing. You know what I mean? I can see it in my body. Even my husband the other day, he was like, "See, you really are losing weight." And I was like, "I know my back fat don't touch my back." You know what I mean? Those little moments, you know? So yes, I know exactly what you mean because that really does, it gives you that benefit of just knowing like, yes, what I'm doing is working. And something that I tell myself and I want the listeners to remember is that don't worry about tomorrow's results. Don't worry about today's results. Just worry about doing it and thank yourself in the future that you got it done today. Because at
Mm.
the end of the day, 2 years from now, it's gonna pay off. In a couple years from now, you're gonna really see it the way that you want. So you're gonna feel it and then you're gonna go up. So it's like I think that is something that is truly beautiful when you aging strongly because you literally become a life habit. And look at you, you're in your 70s from 47 years old to 70 years old, and you are like still in this lifetime routine. Like, so I guess my next question is how farther now are you pushing yourself or are you taking it slow?
I love what you said about I did it for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, because that's very key. When people go, I don't have hours, you don't need it. That's excellent. Oh my God, I love your story, Mitzi. That gives me goosebumps. You really
Oh,
do, you really do get it. Um,
yes, I do. That's why when you came to me with this topic, I was like, yes, we can talk about this. We can think about this.
Well, I have changed. I mean, I still do compete, but I don't compete every year. Everybody's different.
Yeah,
Competitors, they'll do a bunch of shows in a row and then stop for a while, or do once a year. They'll say, to kind of keep themselves in check. That's okay too. I find that because I'm the kind of person who has multiple interests, I like so many different things and I want to work and learn and grow as a
yeah,
professional, that it takes all of my focus when I'm doing a competition. And a lot of things kind of fall by the wayside. So it becomes this big thing in the middle of my vision. And
right.
so what I do is I'll compete like every 2 years, every 3 years, and then step out. But what I do then when I'm not in, excuse me, in competition mode is I dial it back. So I eat a broader palette of food. I incorporate different exercise, not just hardlining it all the time.
Mhm.
So, I'll put in Pilates and hiking
Yeah.
and travel and just like lots more kind of variety and
Yeah.
and I eat a little more broadly. So I allow myself, birthday cake or, so, like I have all the yummy stuff so that when
Yeah.
it's time to put that away and dial in for a show, I'm like, I can do this for 6 or 8 months. I'm fine. I'm not like, oh, if only I could have that ice cream. I can have the ice cream in about 3 months. So it's worked for me to
Yeah.
handle it that way. And also it's helped me in my fitness coaching and helping seniors be able to take down that weight that they put on because they've lost muscle from not exercising to put the muscle back on and to eat properly. It's helped me relate a little bit better because
Yeah.
nobody I train wants to be a competitive bodybuilder. They're like, no, Janet, we're not going to have chicken and broccoli 6 days a week. So
Yeah.
I had to learn also how to eat as a regular person who is focused on
Yeah.
wholesome food and a healthy
Mhm.
lifestyle for the
Yeah.
long haul. So that's the thing is whatever you're doing, if you can't sustain it, for 30 days, 6 months, 5 years, then whatever it is you are doing is not going to sustain you. So it has to be something that you can incorporate into your life and you want to do it every day or every week so that you keep that discipline. It's a discipline, but it's also trusting the process. Like you
Yeah.
said, you'll be happy with the progress you made in a year. You may
Yeah.
not see it right now, but there's stuff going on under the surface right now every time you work out and every time you
Exactly.
choose wholesome and whole foods and good, getting enough protein and all of those things.
Oh,
Your body is
absolutely.
like paying attention.
Exactly. Like you pay attention better, you remember things better, you sleep. Oh my goodness, I sleep like a baby the
Yeah.
days that I work out. Like to be honest, like on my rest days, I'm like kind of like, man, I wish I did a quick workout in because sometimes
Mhm.
my body just feels like it needs to release that extra energy when I
Yeah.
don't work out on certain days. So I'm like, yeah, I need to step it up. But at the same time, it's like listening to your body. You know what I mean? As you age, we have to listen to our body. We have to know really what's going on. And I think just having that understanding that, like you're not young, we're not invincible. We have to make sure that we pump iron in these guns. You know what I mean? Like we
Right,
gotta make
right,
sure
right.
these are glossy up. And it sucks that the time is catching up to us because I truly feel like we can continue on talking about this for hours on end. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad. But what can be some lasting words of wisdom that you can leave us off with to keep on thinking?
Well, to bounce off of that idea that if you can sustain it and you can live with it for a period of time, then you've built something to last. Because one of the things it's true, I can speak about this as an older person. I see people around me who say that, when I'm 80, just shoot me. I don't want to be like that, and I'm like, what? What? Because I'm training an 82-year-old lady who just, came back from scuba diving on the Great Barrier Reef of Australia. She's not like, oh, I'm 82, I can't do anything. You know,
Yeah.
because you have to realize that we're all, unless you get hit by a bus, you're going to live a long time. And they say
Yeah.
if you get to age 40 without a serious disease or illness, you're going to live to be 100 if you take care of yourself. And because our medicine and our understanding of healthy practices, so if you're going to live that long, what do you want it to look like? How do you want to experience the last 10 years of your life, even? I know that's a long time from now when you're thinking about it, but really what you're building is going to sustain that dream of still being able to travel, still being able to play with your great grandchildren. You know, what a blessing. So, instead of people being more afraid of getting old than they are of actually dying, what would happen if we owned our experience and embraced each stage of our life for the beauty that it brings and not be caught up in the aesthetics and fading looks? Because what really happens when you get to be around my age is you blossom in a different way. It comes from an inner fire of your life experience and your wisdom, and you let go a lot about what anybody else thinks. I heard people say that, and I go, well, I still care what other people think. Well, I don't now. I mean, I can just be myself and not apologize for it. It's worth being alive for. So take care
Absolutely.
of yourself and make those practices that are sustainable and understand that aging is inevitable, but decay is optional.
Ooh, you could put that on a bumper sticker. Now, I think that's great words of wisdom. I really do think that people really need to remember that sustainability truly comes down to our mindset. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what is really blocking you? What do you need to have to discover within? What is really causing you to not actually step into the unknown of making this a lifestyle choice, you know what I mean? Because that's what I realized was causing me to be in this diet, you know what I mean,
Right.
cycle of just in and out like throughout my years. And then it wasn't until when I started doing my podcast, started speaking to all these great people on my show, that it made me realize that it truly does come to our mind, our frame of mind, our relationship with food, our relationship with working out, our relationship with ourselves and how we
Mhm.
love ourselves. And one thing I've heard is that if you don't love yourself enough to work out, to
Yeah.
eat right, then you can't really say you love yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it truly does make you realize, like, do I really love me? You know what I mean? And if you
Mhm.
don't, well, then maybe you should give yourself a shot. You know what I mean? Give yourself that chance to actually love yourself. You know what I mean? Prove to yourself that you can love and be loving and just embrace it and embody it. And I just want to reference real quick when you were talking about being at a certain age and just truly not caring anymore and then speaking your mind freely. Oh my goodness, is that the truth? Because I had a 92-year-old man literally like tell me certain stuff and I was just like, it's because you're old and I can't say anything and it's kind of cute, so I'll take it. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
cute, you're old, you know what I mean? So it's like, what can I
Yeah.
really do? So yeah, it's a cute thing because it's like, you know what? It's okay, I'll take it. You mean it from a gentle heart. You know what I mean? From a place
Right.
of sincerity. It's not about being mean and vindictive and spiteful. It truly
Mhm.
comes to about a place of honesty. And when you receive those words as honesty, then it gives you time to reflect and sit with what's really going on inside you. So
Mhm.
yeah, this truly does gives us something to really think about. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more about Janet, because how could you not? How could you not with after hearing this conversation, right? Please go check her out. If you're listening in audio or if you're on the YouTube already listening, in the description, you'll find access to her website. And if you're on my website, you just scroll right down, find her beautiful photo, and click right on it. And it goes directly to her website so that you can find all the great content that she has to offer the world. And obviously, so that you can continue on thinking. So, with that being said, bye.